Good evening, welcome to Leicester Fan TV. It's Monday night. My name is Phil. If you're watching this live, get your views in, get your comments in. We're live every Monday night in the Fanzone show. We have no agenda. I have no script. We just do this. It's your views. It's your comments. It's your show. This is the Fanzone show. We want to talk a little bit about Man City. Did we see signs of improvement? Maybe in that second half. I want to know your comments. Who performed well? Who didn't perform so well? Are the next three games three we have to win? There's so many questions tonight. Get your views in, get your comments in tonight's Fanzone show.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, indeed, are these next three games we have to win? Get your views and get your comments in, and don't forget, follow us on whatever social media platform you want. We are at Leicester Fan TV on them all. Let's get some comments in then. Tom says here, hoping Dean Smith seen how much better Mendy is than Ndidi. There we go. Do you want to talk about Wilfred Ndidi? What has happened to Wilfred Ndidi? Is it the two? He's had at least two big injuries, hasn't he? A lot of time off. That was not the Wilfred Ndidi we all know and love on Saturday. What do you want to say about him in there? Would you drop him for the game on Saturday? Would you drop Wilfred Ndidi? Tom is sort of asking that question. Kevin says, the great escape starts against Wolves. Man City was a free hit. It was a free hit, Kevin. Did you see some signs of improvement? That's the big thing, or not? Were Man City really in first gear there? Keep getting your views in, get your comments in. Mark says, every game is crucial now until the end of the season. Mark, listen, my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I want to know what you think, Mark, and everybody else who's watching. We've got to win, obviously, quite a few games now, but it has to start on Saturday. It has to start against Wolves on Saturday, because I'm being honest, if we don't win that, and I think a win is the only thing really now, if we don't beat Wolves, do you feel like it just isn't going to happen? I think fans would give up if we didn't beat Wolves, because I know we'd all carry on trying to cheer them on, but I do think, Mark, and I want to know what you think to that. If we didn't beat Wolves, do you feel like it is on? For me, we've been talking about it all day in the Leicester Fan TV office today, and I keep saying to them all, yes, you can look at the next three games. Yes, you can look at them. Got to beat Wolves. Just absolutely have to beat Wolves in there. We've had the same conversation before, Palace, Villa and Bournemouth. I agree with you, Dave. Again, we were talking about that earlier today in the office. We did. I feel like this is, go back and watch the video from the week before playing Bournemouth. I was probably saying exactly the same stuff, and so were you lot. It's a must-win. Wolves is beyond it. I can't imagine us not. If we don't beat Wolves, I'd be struggling to think that you can go on, because if you don't beat Wolves, then you've got Leeds, then you've got Everton. I think we've got to beat Wolves for more reasons than just the 3 points. I think we need it because the momentum, if we're going to save ourselves, has to start somewhere. Kevin says, Cags had a decent game on his return, and Ndidi and Vardsney dropping, and Mendy and Kelechi should be starting. Kevin, I've got to agree with everything you've said there. Do you guys watching this agree with me, agree with Kevin there? I'm afraid Ndidi was in some shape or form. I don't want to hang him out to dry here, but all three goals. The first goal again that Stone scored, good goal, good strike, but Ndidi turned his back. We need people. You remember Wes Morgan? You can go back before that, but remember people like Wes Morgan literally diving in and putting their bodies on the line. Ndidi turned his back. You can't be turning your back so that you don't get hit. You've got to make yourself big. Don't want to give away a penalty. Don't want to get your arms up, but then he goes on to give away the penalty with his arms up. I don't really understand what he was doing with that one either. That's not natural to be like, oh. And then he doesn't make the tackle in the middle of the park and they go away and score again. So Ndidi did have a bad game in there. Do you agree with that or not? Joe says he would drop, and did he? I'm afraid I would, Joe. Poor Mendy. I don't know what Mendy has to do. Scores that great goal against Spurs. I think Mendy's been solid all season. I would definitely have been playing Mendy recently. Dorco, watching on YouTube. Good evening, Dorco, says we can't afford any more mistakes from Kiernan, Dewsbury Hall and Ndidi. We can't play them again. Listen, I like KDH, but if Pratt and Yuri Tielemans and Madison are available, is KDH dropped as well as Ndidi? Get your views in. What do you think? Do you agree with Dorco in there? Patrick, good evening, says only won 7 all season and now expect us to win 3 or 4 in the remaining 7. It ain't happening. Patrick, listen. Statistically, you're absolutely right. Statistically, you're right. But Patrick, you know me, and I know you a little bit. I know you've watched Leicester for a long, long time, like me. You know we can believe in the impossible. Could Leicester go? Listen, this season's been pretty woeful, apart from we've had 2 little patches where we did go on a good run. We just need to hit that form again. You've got to remember, here's something for you to hang your hat on. We've already beaten Wolves, haven't we? I believe we've already beaten Everton. I believe we've already beaten Leeds. So you can go into those games and say, we've already beaten these teams, lads. James says, keep the faith. It's not over until the final whistle on the final day. We have it in our hands. James, you know that final game is going to matter. That Leicester v West Ham game is going to matter, possibly for both teams. Oh my goodness, what a day that is going to be at the King Power. Listen, this is why we love watching Leicester. Wouldn't it be boring to be a Spurs fan and be like, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I've always dreamed of being a bride, never being the bride, never winning anything, but always being in that top 6, 7 or 8, something like that. That'd be. Somebody genuinely asked me that the other day. Would you rather be a Spurs fan, Phil? I was like, no way at all. Nick Moore says, next 3 games are huge. How many games have we said that? Yes, for about the last 4 months, I think, since the World Cup. If we play like we did in the second half against Man City, we might stay up. Listen, Nick, and everybody else watching, did you think that second half, was it Leicester actually found a bit of grit and a bit of determination? Was it that? Or was it also that Man City went into first gear, literally first gear, maybe even cruising at that? Wayne says the second half was much better. Yeah, it was. And at one point, Wayne, I'll be honest with you, I was watching it. I was at the pub. I didn't go to the game. Plastic fan and all that. I was down the pub watching it at Champs. Hello to all those who we had a chat with at the bar. With 10 minutes to go, I was with a little group, and we had a cheeky £5 each on Leicester to get the draw. That 3-1 down, 5 minutes to go. No, 10 minutes to go, and it was 500 to 1. I thought £2.5 for a fiver. And do you know what? When Madison had that chance and then Nacho hit the post, I was like, maybe my luck is in here. Now, listen, I've put the link out there to see if anybody wants to click on it. I will share it again. I know Nick Moore has clicked on it. The link's there. We'll get your comments on. We'll get your views on. Nick, are you ready to come on? He gives me the nod. Nick, good evening. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, Nick. What do you want to say tonight? Are you feeling like me that Saturday just has to be a win?
Well, like I said in my comment, how many times have we said these games are a must-win? So we've said it all season. But I don't necessarily get the people moaning about Saturday, especially the first half, because we all said before the game it was a free hit, didn't we? Nobody's realistically expecting anything against Manchester City.
I've got to be
second
fair with
half.
you,
I thought we will.
At 3-0 down, I was like thinking, holy hell, this could be awful. So in the end, second half,
I was saying at work all week leading up to it, even on the day of the game, that I could see it being a cricket score. And obviously we kept it down as well as we did. Whether that was because Man City went to sleep second half and they thought, oh, game's over, I don't know. And I'm not really bothered. I'm just glad it wasn't a cricket score, because the confidence would have been even more in the toilet than what it is at the minute. We just need to win.
So, Nick, before I let you go, Saturday, I don't want to hang out to dry Ndidi, but it wasn't a great performance. What are your positives from Saturday that we can take into the Wolves game?
Well, as I say, Nacho scored. You know, that's going to do his confidence player. Yes, he hit the post, but you know, the second half, it seemed like it wasn't quite like the old of Leicester of old, but it was like a shadow of it. But I'll take a shadow of the Leicester of old right now than what we were playing beforehand. And did he, as far as I'm concerned, just bench the bloke. I've got all soft spot for Ndidi there, but he's not been right since his last injury. At least with Mendy, he gives you a bit of grit and he's a bit more solid, but also he can pass a blooming ball. Whereas Ndidi, he can't pass for toffee at the minute.
I don't know what it is with Ndidi, Nick, but he seems to have been on. I want to ask you this question. We've got two questions in one here. Neil Platter says, I think we should play with 2 strikers on Saturday. And Derek goes on to say, if we play Vardy against Wolves, we deserve relegation. What do you do with Jamie Vardy? Because you know Nick, like he's like such a legend. I keep thinking at some point he's going to get a goal, a hat trick, a brace, whatever, and he's going to be the saviour. Or do you just say, no, it has to be Daka now and in Nacho?
Phil, you know my feelings regarding Daka.
Well, I don't rate him either, but I've got to be fair. Maybe he's the one. We need to play 2.
Vardy
do we need to play 2 up top, Nick?
Yes.
So which 2?
Vardy and Nacho.
So you'd stick with Vardy?
Yeah, because like you said, Vardy, even before this season, Vardy went through spells where he was having a little bit of a drought. And then all of a sudden, it was like somebody turned the switch on Jamie Vardy and he couldn't stop scoring. He's always going to be, he's lost a lot of pace this season, sure. But he's coy with it. He reminds me a little bit how Dickoff used to be back in the day. He's that little, he'll snap at the heels and stuff like that. We need somebody like that just to cause upset. Let Vardy run and ragged as best as he can for the first 50, 60 minutes. Then you bring a Daka on who's got pace to do exactly the same job. But as I say, he needs the support in Nacho or somebody alongside him because he can't do the work all on his own. The amount of times we said he's been having the balls lumped up to him, expecting him to nod it down like a Steve Howard would do when he was playing up front with right. Vardy's not that type of player. He likes it on the floor, past him, and he can run onto it. So we'll see.
So Nick is going for Jamie Vardy and Nacho up top. Do you know what, Nick? I think I am with you in the end because I have said clearly I don't rate Daka. I hope Daka comes good, but I think Jamie Vardy surely his fairy tale isn't over yet, and his fairy tale could be keeping.
Of course I do. I hope I'm wrong. If I hold my hands up, and Daka all of a sudden becomes like the next, Alan Shearer who could score goals for fun, I'll hold my hands up and apologise and stuff. But I don't see it in Daka. He's too lightweight for the Premier League, and if we do go down in the Championship, it's even tougher in the Championship. He's going to get knocked off the ball a hell of a lot more in the Championship than what he is in the Prem.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd even say your old boy Mitrovic. So, and that's me saying something because I took the Mickey out of you for God knows how long because you wanted to be Mitrovic.
I know, but he scores in the Premier League. He did it before they got relegated, and he's done it again this season. I know he's a bad boy, but I'd have had Mitrovic. Nick, I'm going to let you go. Thanks so much for joining.
Top man.
Absolutely brilliant. See you at the match on Saturday. Cheers, Nick. Thanks for Nick. Don't forget, if you want to click on the link, I've shared it again. You can come in, just come and give us your views. I'm going to get a few more comments on Street. No stick with white. They don't usually have red. Don't know what that means. Man City took all the big guns off. That's why, says Craig in there. Andrew says, we've got to start taking our chances. We have. But did you see a little bit on Saturday against Man City, Andrew, that maybe that was better? Kevin says here, just hope Smith has some balls and isn't scared to drop players. I'm sure, Kevin, he will do it. I'm sure, though, on his first game, he probably, and again, from his point of view, he could look at some players on Saturday. And I think if I was Dean Smith and probably came in looking at a lot of the history of Leicester, I'd have probably put Ndidi in. But I think I can't believe Dean Smith would carry on with Ndidi after that, sadly, that performance he got in there. Reedy was at the match. If you watched the Aftermath show yesterday, you'll have heard Reedy's comments. He said, I wasn't happy. We only had chances that they had nothing special on the pitch by then. Although I'd still say, Reedy, that Man City's B side is probably good enough to be in the top 6. He said, we could have got spanked and they gave us a lifeline with the goal difference. to be fair, that's a positive. Our goal difference is still worth a point at the moment against most teams. He goes on to say Daka has to start on Saturday, which if he does, I'll be cheering him on, Reedy. I keep saying to you, if Daka can prove me wrong, I love it, but I don't see it. Craig says it will be tough on Saturday. They're in good form, Craig. Listen, this was probably an easier match 2 or 3 weeks ago, but Wolves have hit a bit of form. But we beat them earlier in the season. We can do it. But it has to be this Saturday. That's my view at the moment. Do you agree with that? I can't look past Saturday tea time, 5 o'clock. I just can't. I know we've got Leeds next Tuesday, but for me, it's like block by block. We literally, I know they say game by game, and it's all about Saturday. Saturday is massive, and I just feel like, of course, if we were to draw or lose against Wolves, we'd all pick ourselves up and we'd be like, right, win at Leeds. We'd do that next Monday, but I don't want to do that. I think the momentum has to start now, and it might be a goal off Jamie Vardy's backside in the dying minutes to make us 3 points, but it has to be something. Andy says the rest of the season won't be the same as Man City because we're playing teams who need points also. I know it could be harder, Andy, because teams like Wolves, Everton, Leeds will all be scrapping. Don't forget, Leeds is on in about 15 minutes. We'll all be Liverpool fans, surely, for the game tonight. Craig says play 2 strikers. Craig, it's so flipping obvious, isn't it? Please. And again, on Saturday, we want to see the performance. They need to play 2 up top. If anybody from the club ever watches this, which they probably don't, play 2 up top, because if you put Iheanacho and Vardy up there, do you know what it'll do? We'll all see the team sheet at 2 o'clock. Every fan will see the team sheet and go, right, we are going for it. So picking 2 players gets the whole crowd going for it. Picking 1 striker says, we're going to try and defend and pass it around a bit. That's my opinion. Do you agree with that? Picking 2 strikers says to the fans, we are going for it. I'm going to add Ross in. Here he comes. Ross.
Hello.
Ross and Charlie.
He's just come
Hi,
back.
Charlie, mate.
He came back from Spain yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah, he was in Magaluf with his mum.
I went.
Yeah, Magaluf.
Oh yeah.
Been at Magaluf. Whoop whoop. BCMs. Banana Street. We've all been there. Charlie, are Leicester going to stay up, mate?
Are Leicester going to stay up?
Yeah.
Good lad.
He's more confident than me. That's for sure.
Charlie, would you play Vardy or Daka against Wolves?
No, Iheanacho.
Iheanacho. No, you see, Ross, what would you do? We're just saying there, play 2 up top, because it sends a signal to the fans that we're going to go for it.
It does, and I think I played 2 up top. And it was good to see Soyuncu back. Obviously, I've only just picked up. I've not long come in, so I don't know if you've been on about Soyuncu, but it was so glad to see Soyuncu back. All right. It was brilliant.
To be fair, a lot of the chat has been about Ndidi, sadly, that we just feel he has to be dropped, Ross.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Honestly, he was useless. He's not been good this season at all. Mendy has to start against Wolves.
We've just lost Ross. Oh, are you back, Ross? Your signal's dropped, Ross, and I can't hear you, mate. I don't know what you pressed on your button. I can't. Oh, Ross, I've lost you. I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to let you go. Sorry, mate. I'm going to add in Dan, who's just joined the link. Dan? Good evening.
Hello,
Can you
Phil.
hear me okay? How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. What's your take on the big topics it feels like fans want to talk about is Ndidi, Cags, Vardy and Nacho. What's your feeling from Saturday and then going into this Saturday?
Yeah, I was just listening to you speak to Nick and about Vardy. Do you know what? It's so difficult, and we all love Vardy as Leicester supporters, and this season's been kind of a struggle for us to kind of see his demise. And like I listened to what you say in terms of, you see Vardy as the man to spark something in us. But personally, I've said it before, I saw it in pre-season against QPR. He's lost more than a yard of pace. I don't know if you ever listened to the Big Strong Leicester boys on the podcast. That's really good. And one of them was saying that he just doesn't see Vardy being the guy anymore. And I'm inclined to sort of kind of go with that as well. I think that Daka, we say that he hasn't performed this season as well, but he has scored more goals than Vardy, and he's more likely to break the lines than Vardy is, because Vardy just doesn't have the pace anymore. So I think if we're going to go for two up front, it's going to be Daka and Kel now. But we're so negative at home. Why are we taking so long to go two up top?
Dan, that's what I'm saying. For me, whether Dean Smith feels it's the right tactics in the match or not, I think sending two players out on the team sheet up top says to you, me, everybody else who's down at the King Power, we are going to go for it today. We are going to win.
Look at the Bournemouth game. We set out so negative in that game. Yeah. I mean, they must have been rubbing their hands together coming up against us before the game as it was. But then we just set up to kind of play into their hands. But this weekend is win or bust. We have to win.
I'm afraid I feel like that.
Yeah. And that's it. It hurts us as fans to kind of think, wow, this Saturday, if we don't win, but you know what I mean? And if the teams around us, I think we got lucky on the weekend. Everton dropped points, and so did Forest.
Yeah.
But now this is it. This is our time. We played City. We're not going to come any harder than City. We've really got to start picking up those wins. Points are no good to us now. A point, in the next game. But it worries me how bad we've been at home all season. Hardly anyone's mentioned how bad we've been at home.
Yeah.
We're a soft touch. We're a soft touch as it is. But if any team that does well in the Premier League, home form is key. And I mean, I don't know how many home games Bournemouth have won, but I bet it's a lot more than us.
Here's a question for you, Dan, just before I let you go, because you were talking about not having Vardy in the team, which I understand when fans say Vardy's done. I guess I believe in the spirit of Rocky and everything that Leicester's done, that Vardy has got a final chapter in his story, which is it's either going to be to keep us up, Dan, or his final chapter will be if we got relegated to get us back up next season. I don't want it to be that one. Bradley says here, why was Vardy having a laugh with Haaland after he scored? It doesn't look good to the fans. I know quite a lot of fans have been upset over seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, but obviously when you're down there and things are going on, you kind of do read into everything that happens at the club. And because the club have been, I don't think the club have been very transparent with us this season, have they? Let's be honest. Would have liked them to have kind of told us a bit more information, with Rodgers. The one that really, really, annoys me is Soyuncu. Everyone was saying how good he was against City on the weekend. And then we've had Rodgers talking about him saying that he doesn't train well. I mean, that's clearly a lie. The guys come in and...
We'll probably never know what's happened with Cags and Rodgers, will we? Dan, I'm going to let you go because I've got a couple of other people want to come on. Thanks so much for coming on. Hopefully you'll come on next Monday and we can talk about that Wolves win together.
Sure, hopefully. Thanks, mate.
Right. Cheers, Dan. Thanks to Dan there. I'm going to get a few comments on, then Ross is going to try and get back in and Reed is going to come on as well. Nick says, Vardy's time isn't done yet. Nick agrees with me. His time isn't finished yet. We need someone with experience. He's had to help lift the squad. I guess I'm still believing in that Leicester City dream, which if it was a film, which Leicester City has been a film, they'll make one of it one day. Jamie Vardy would keep us up this season if it was a script. I know the life isn't a script, but I sort of believe in a bit of that sort of karma at times in here. Scott says, is Vardy's finished at the end of the season or is he staying another year? Do you know, Scott? I believe he's got another year on his contract. I think we gave him 2 years. I need to check that out. Callum says we need Casper back. I don't think many of us realise perhaps how much we would miss Casper, his leadership on there. I'm going to get Ross just briefly back in and then Reedy. So Ross, hopefully I can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry, someone rang me, that was all. And it just stuck to my connection, so...
No worries, Ross. Just quickly then, before I let you go, just how important is Saturday to you, do you think now?
Oh, wow. I mean, it's at home. I mean, we've been terrible at home this season. And Wolves have just picked up a win as well. Diego Costa scored his first goal in 5 years in the Premier League, so bear it in mind. Oh, my God, it's so important. It's his first home game as manager of Leicester. I mean, obviously the first game he plays Man City. I mean, it's a bit, as we're saying about having a free pass and stuff like that. So I just hope Nacho does start, and if he does start, he needs to start with somebody. He plays better with somebody.
I know from 1 to 6 in Spanish. Una, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis.
There you go.
Go on then, Charlie. In Spanish, what's the score going to be on Saturday? Before I let you go, in Spanish, how many goals are Leicester going to get? I'm putting you on the spot, mate. Come on, a Spanish number between 1 and 6.
Come on.
I'm thinking.
Oh, quickly, we got 2 minutes. We ain't got long.
Come on, Charlie.
Dos, uno.
Dos uno.
Dos uno. Good lad. Ross,
2-1.
thanks a lot.
He's going for 2-1. I'm going to go for 2-1 as well.
Thank you. Cheers, Charlie. Cheers, Ross. See you soon.
See you later.
Charlie, can you persuade Messi to come to Leicester City, says Carlos in there. Casper knew what was going on, says Scott. I did hear he had a disagreement with Rodgers like Cags did. Benj says it's unfortunate that Barnes is injured. Let's hope he gets well soon. He's such an important player for us. Keep getting your views and comments in. We've got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to add Reedy in now. Reedy was at the match on Saturday, Reedy. And you went to the match. You were disappointed. The Man City game, there's not a lot worth talking about from it, really. There was a few positives, a few negatives. For me, really, like we were saying earlier, it's got to be all about Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't deny it. Again, I don't think it's a do or die game because I think they are safe. But again, you've got to look to it and say you've got to get points from it. Like you said, Wolves are safe, so it could be an easier game for us. But the ones that we have to win are the ones that we've spoke about: Everton, Leeds, and West Ham. All of them are going to be near us, so we've got to make sure we beat them to put them back into the drop zone and we stay up. But I've mainly come on to talk about the Vardy situation because I'm sorry, if Vardy starts the rest of the season, we are going down. I can't. There's no threat in him. I am sorry. There is just no chance Vardy is going to keep us up.
But Reedy, and I hear what you're saying, absolutely fine. But surely, well, would you play 2 up top?
Yes, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt we have to start with 2 up front.
So one of those 2 is Kelechi and Nacho.
Yes, by a mile. Yeah.
Who this side of Christmas is pretty much the only striker who's scored any goals, isn't he?
Yeah.
So you're definitely going to pick Nacho, but you're going to go. You genuinely think it's Nacho and Daka?
It has to be. I'll give you the stat of Vardy. I looked at it today. Vardy's played 30. He's had 30 appearances this season in the Premier League, 1 goal. And I'm not going to deny that Daka's only had 4, but
how many? And how many appearances for Daka?
Daka's only had. Well, he's had 24, so he's only 6 less. But
yeah,
you've just got to see. I feel like you've got more of a threat there. Daka's younger. You'll run more. I don't ever see Vardy coming on the pitch now and being a threat. I don't think would you ever see Vardy coming on the pitch as a sub in the 60th minute and causing any trouble? I can't see it.
Well, to an extent, I agree with what you're saying, Reedy. What I don't understand, my question is, I would play Nacho, and then the debate would be Daka or Vardy. If I was going to, the argument for your way is play Nacho and he stays on, and he's your sidekick up front. Start with Daka. Don't bring Jamie on at 60 minutes. Bring Jamie on at 70 minutes and literally say to Vardy, you've got 20 minutes plus injury time, which is 25 minutes.
But
you get out there because Vardy can surely play.
We've always said
pace for 25 minutes.
We've always said that Vardy is that super sub now. He can't start games.
And they don't play him like that. They bring him on too early, almost. Really.
I do get that, but I think the last few games he's only started because we're trying to go back to basics, and we know how Vardy has been. And the last 3 games, what's happened? We've lost for like 3 or 4. We've barely scored a goal, and if it has, it's been from a tap-in from a corner that we scored against Man City. So for me, you've got to go with your best threat, and even if that doesn't work in Daka and Iheanacho, we have to. And like he says there, we were in 2015, 2016. Vardy's just not there anymore for me.
I hear what you're saying. I just keep a big believer in like karma and things like that, and luck, whatever you want to call it, or fairy tales. But I just feel but Vardy could do that as a sub. I do give it you, Reedy. But for me, the biggest thing is to start with 2 up top on Saturday.
Oh,
and
you got
tell the Leicester fans from the team sheet at 2 p.m. we're doing this. Because last time when we played Bournemouth, as soon as we saw the team sheet, you and me were talking, and we were like, well, what? We're not going for that then.
You've got to look at it as the fact is you have to play a 2 up top now because Barnes is injured, and we've said if you've not got one winger fit, you don't play the other winger. So we went against Man City and we didn't play wingers, but we only played 1 up front, which was just the most dumb decision because when you got the ball to Maddison, all you had up front was Vardy, and Vardy had 3 men around him, so there was no point even playing him. So you've got to go with 2 up top and have some sort of attack going forward with the wing backs or the full backs going forward and getting them cuts inside or even crossing the ball into your 2 men up front.
So we're going to end this show in about 2 minutes. Jamie Reedy is definitely saying he would start with Nacho and Daka. I am still going to stick with Jamie Vardy and Nacho. So everybody who's watching, and I mean everybody who's watching, let's finish this off. Just put Vardy or Daka. Let's gauge the viewers, the room, Reedy. Let's see. So that's all you have to do. Get your phones out.
I'll put my points out there, so hopefully people will agree with me.
Reedy's gone for Daka, but with Nacho. We're both saying 2 up top. I want you to say Vardy. I think there's an argument for both. I certainly think if Daka starts, you've got Vardy to come on with 25 minutes to go and say, run your socks off, lad. So there's a lot of logic for that. I just, as I've said to people, not the biggest rater of Daka, sadly. But like Daka in a 2 would be better than Daka in a 1. So we're going to get everybody to put a comment in if you can. And I'm also going to ask everybody to give us a like and a share if you're on Facebook, and make sure you've subscribed on YouTube while we're getting all these in. And I'll also remind people to follow us. There's the things at Leicester Fan TV. We are on TikTok. We are on Facebook, Instagram. We're on the lot. So go and give us a like and a share on that. I'm going to whiz through these, Reedy, as fast as we can because people have put them in there. You need to help me. Richie says Vardy and Nacho. Carlos is Vardy. Tom's Vardy.
Yeah, but what does Tom know, man? What does Tom know?
He believes in fairy tales like I do, and he thinks Vardy it'll come good. Nacho and Daka, says Wayne. Vardy, Daka, Vardy, Nacho and Vardy. Nobody's going for Daka and Vardy. I mean, that would be daft, wouldn't it? Daka. There is definitely some Dakas in there. Nacho and Vardy. Daka, Vardy sub. You see, Craig, I don't mind that.
There is some Dakas in there, but
there is plenty of Dakas.
I don't know. I don't have the faith in Vardy anymore. Yes, he could still. Yes, if we do play 2 up top, he might start scoring again. We don't know that because, firstly, Rodgers did not do 2 up top for God knows how long. And we know previously when we played with Vardy and Iheanacho beforehand a few years ago, they were scoring goals for fun. So you never know. But for me, from what I've seen with Vardy in the last few games, there's just nothing there with him. So I just can't see what happened going forward with him.
Yeah, and a couple of people saying Tete. No, he's not got the fight. He's honestly not got the fight. Nick Reed. Got to have a pop at you. Reedy's only choosing Daka because he's a Forest fan. Forest are going down as well, aren't they, Reedy?
Oh, of course they are, mate.
Yeah, we know it. Listen, thanks for Reedy joining us. Later on this week, you'll be previewing the Wolves show.
Yes, the match preview for the Wolves game. And then there'll be obviously a watch along as well on the Saturday for it.
Absolutely. And we'll see you down at the game. Thanks, Reedy.
See you.
That was Reedy. This is what Leicester fans all about, is like listening to other fans as well and thinking, yeah, do you know what? I understand what Reedy's saying there. Playing Daka to start with and bringing Jamie Vardy on if you need to with 25 minutes to go is not a bad option. It probably makes more sense. Jamie Vardy's 36. You know, he's not got the legs on him. I think we can all see that. So maybe, but you have to, if you send him out there with 25 minutes to go, you have to say, you've got to cram 90 minutes of effort into 20 minutes. I'm sure he knows that. But like Scott says, Vardy's not at the service. I think Vardy in a 2 would be far better. I really do. Vardy's always thrived off having a side kick player with him. It was Okazaki back in the day. It would probably help Daka as well. It probably would help Daka. I think all we're going to do all week all of us, I'm sure you're the same as me, is think about the Wolves game on Saturday. We're going to worry, we're going to panic, we're going to be excited, we're going to be quivering and crying in the corner of the room. It just has to be a win. Has to be a win. Thanks everybody for all your views, all your comments. Thanks for everybody who's come on and been brave enough to switch their video camera on and give us their comments. But thanks for you guys. I tried to get as many on screen as I can. I'll be here next week. Hopefully we'll be celebrating. We'll be sharing a beer or something next Monday going, blimey, we've actually won at home. We've got 3 points. The Great Escape 2.0 has started. And hopefully I'll be getting Reedy on. I'll say, there you go. Jamie Vardy hat-trick. I told you you'd do it. But we'll see. Maybe he'll be coming on and saying, Daka. He's waving at me in the background. Listen, everybody, thanks for all your views, all your comments. Join the guys later this week when they'll be previewing the Wolves game. Make sure you like and share the content and enjoy things. Take some deep breaths now for Saturday. See you later.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.